Dogecoin is basically this crypto that's based on like a meme. So basically after like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other cryptos popped up in 2013, this kid made this like crypto that was basically just like a fake.
Using old Bitcoin technology. There's no market cap on it, which means you can keep on mining it. There's like billions of the coins available.
It's still blockchain, the whole deal.
Yeah.
But it's just based off this little Shiba Inu like dog that was a meme back in the day that they called Doge. So now it's Dogecoin.
The problem with crypto is that everybody focus on the intricate details like that. And that's where you get confused, because the dollar will confuse you too if you sat there and you focus on that. Just know that it's another piece of currency like gold would be, right? Or anything that has value or that people trust to say, okay, that's worth something. I can buy a Ferrari with Bitcoin.
Yes, you can.
I can buy a house with Bitcoin.
Correct.
I can buy whatever I want to buy with Bitcoin because it's just as equally valued as the actual dollar because the people say it is.
What about hacking problems?
But you can't, that's what the blockchain prevents. Like that's the security part of it.
Max Kaiser comes to me and he says, I have 10,000 Bitcoins for you. This is the future. It'll be the new global currency. He's on record. And I'm like drinking wine and eating a fucking steak at night. And I go, okay, great. I lost the laptop. He put the 10,000 on it. Today, what's 10,000 Bitcoins worth? A lot.
Yeah. 10,000 times 50. 5 million?
50, yeah, 500,000?
Mm-hmm. $510 million.
Yeah.
$510 million.
You fucking idiot.
What's a strong signal to me is still some of the smartest people I know in tech are working on solving these problems. They're building companies that are built on blockchain. The hype is gone, the fervor is gone, but I think that's a good thing. And for all of us who've been in this since, I mean, we were the seed investors in Coinbase back in 2011, I think, back when it was a sort of pipe dream of really only like devoted engineers. We've been in this for a minute now, and so we're very comfortable having a long worldview on it because this kind of an infrastructure shift will take lots of time, and we knew that going into it.
So you guys remember in 2017 how Bitcoin went to like 20 grand?
Yeah, I do, because I tried to invest back then.
Yeah.
And it was too risky for my financial advisors to comfortably give me my own money to invest.
Fire them all.
And they didn't do it. No, swear to God. And they didn't do it. And so now I'm feel like I'm late.
Right. You're not late. So what in 2017, there was a lot of FOMO, right?
Yeah.
But that was from what's called retail buyers, which are people like you and me, which are relatively not very rich.
Currency is almost like an app. Like you have a decentralized trust ledger where you can record the ownership of something. Well, the most obvious something you can record the ownership of is a system of digital cash. But that's not the only thing you can record ownership of. And so once you read that, you're like, okay, you've done digital cash, but if you have this building block, you can make so many other things. You can register assets, real estate, do governance, voting. The list is endless. Bitcoin is the first financial system in history that doesn't require personhood for ownership of money. Every single financial system we have, at the end of the day, money is owned by either a person or a collection of people as a corporation. That is a fundamental truth. It's required by the legal system. Bitcoin doesn't care. You can be software and you can own money. Software can own money. Let me say that again. Software can own money.
Ripple took a contrarian view pretty early in our evolution and said, look, if you want to really revolutionize the way payments work, if you really want to revolutionize the way transactions work in this regard, it's not going to happen by everybody giving up their existing infrastructure and just switching to something new. As much as I am actually a bull on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain is not, there's not going to be one ledger to rule them all. Ripple invented a series of technologies built upon the XRP ledger that allows institutions, banks, and even in some cases governments to take advantage of these technologies and dramatically accelerate the nature of transactions.
I wanted to do crypto, my partner didn't as much, and I believed in this, obviously. It wasn't just that I believe in crypto, it's also I'm a little tired of the VC game. It's very different. It's all new players in crypto, it's younger, fresher, more interesting, people from all over the world. The VC game has gotten very, very tiring to me. Also, and I could go into that, but I won't, but also, crypto moves much more quickly. The crypto world moves like significantly faster than the normal tech world, which already moves quickly. But a few months feels like a year or two in crypto.
The key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have
absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also, we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
On the blockchain, you can think of it as an open infrastructure that stores many kinds of assets. It stores the history of custodianship, ownership, and location for assets like the digital currency Bitcoin, other digital assets like a title of ownership of IP. It could be a certificate, a contract, real-world objects, even personal identifiable information.
Ripple is really focused on how do we enable an internet of value? How do we make value move the way information moves today? And that's our big kind of multi-year, 10-year view of how the world will evolve. And it's really how do we dial that back and to make it tactical and real today and tomorrow. And I think if you want to enable an internet of value, you've got to connect the repositories of value. Right. And the repositories of value, as big as the Bitcoin value proposition is today, the banks own trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of assets. So if we want to enable an internet of value, we've got to connect the banks and payment service providers and MSBs. And we're excited to have made a bunch of progress on that. The deal is a big step, I think, for Ripple, but it's even a bigger step for the overall industry. As you know well, there's been a lot of excitement around what blockchain and what digital assets and crypto can mean for the industry. And I think it's the reason why players like Facebook are diving in also. But we haven't yet seen much beyond experimentation. And really at Ripple, I think we are the market leader because we have matured aggressively and we're really solving real problems for real customers. MoneyGram is just the manifestation of that. And as the second largest global remittance company, we're able to have a big impact with one customer and one partner in this.
In a Bitcoin-denominated world, in a pure free market, the consumer is sovereign. So you cannot earn value in the world unless you are serving your fellow man, unless they have expressed through their buy and sell decisions in the marketplace, right? You've created a satisfaction of a particular want that they value so much. They've acquired so much of your good or service that you've become rich. You can only maintain that position of wealth so long as you continue to serve your fellow man.
Well, I worked in the banking industry for 15 years, and if I'm honest with you, our job every day was to rip the eyeballs out of our customers and try to fleece them for as many fees as we could. And they're the gatekeepers that keep people out of this industry, and they stop innovation from happening. All that's changing with decentralized finance. I've never seen anything so incredible, so innovative, and so decentralized, and so value add to the customers. Elon Musk, God bless him, every couple of days puts out a tweet that takes the cryptocurrency market on a roller coaster ride. Whether it's Dogecoin or breaking up with Bitcoin on Friday, he's always seems to be the fly in the ointment. And my students keep asking me, Brian, does this matter? And the truth is this: the beauty of decentralized finance is not one institution or one man or one entity controls the future of our money. That's why we're going all in on this infrastructure for the next 10 years, because it will create the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history.
Cryptocurrency is just digital money. So it's like money that you can send around the internet. And Bitcoin was this fundamentally a computer science breakthrough. So it solved this problem that had never been solved before, which is that if I'm going to send you a digital dollar, how do I prove to you that I didn't also send a copy of the same thing to somebody else? Because in the digital world, it's really easy to make copies of things like photos or any kind of digital content. And so the only way people had solved it to date was they have trusted intermediaries like banks that sit between us, and so they atomically debit and credit an account to make sure I didn't double spend it.
If you think about the early web, when Tim Berners-Lee first launched the web, there were no websites on it. You really couldn't use it. We didn't get the first real web browser until a few years after Tim Berners-Lee put out the web, and then we didn't get a search engine in Google until a few years after that. And I think we're at that stage with Bitcoin. Right now, what can you do with it is not very apparent, but again, because it's open, folks are going to build on top of it. The killer application will come.
For us to sit here and say there is no chance that Cardano will pass Ethereum is extremely unrealistic. Now, I will say this, though. When you look at Bitcoin versus Ethereum, most people believe in that are hardcore crypto enthusiasts, not your Bitcoin maxis, believe that Ethereum one day will pass Bitcoin as the number one coin. And I believe that. I think by the end or by 2025, Ethereum will permanently pass Bitcoin in market cap. It just does more stuff and the potential is higher.
Digital assets, which of course are impossible unless you have a blockchain. Those currencies are going to be extremely important for reducing liquidity costs and sort of just greasing the wheels of how all these other things of value, dollar, yen, RMB, euro, always going to, in my opinion, going to be the dominant currencies in the world, but they need a digital asset to enable that easy translation from one thing of value to another thing of value.
What really struck us and why we went all in on this whole blockchain movement is we just realized there's a fundamental problem in the world that needs to be solved, and that is you really can't have globalization that's workable unless you have interoperability in three things: data, goods, and money. And we only have those in two things: data and goods. Without the money part, globalization doesn't work. It's incomplete. So what's really exciting is we think what blockchain really represents, the finishing of an internet of value, is the completion of globalization. And now suddenly I think we have a much better chance of that working for another 2 billion people.
Bitcoin actually has probably the best distributed database in the world. It solved a very hard computer science problem just to exist. And here's the key. Once you put something in a blockchain like Bitcoin's, it's there forever. It can't come out. We have every single transaction since Bitcoin was invented. It's there since January 3rd, 2009. So that means it's the perfect place to put identities. It's the perfect place to put agreements, property rights, these kinds of things. And it's totally censorship resistant. Even if it's inconvenient data to a government, inconvenient data to an individual, you can't pull it out once it's there.
When people say there's no value, no intrinsic value to crypto, they don't really look at the value of blockchain. Now, when you take blockchains from different types of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus others, there's significant differences, but blockchain in general does have at least a basic intrinsic value. Not as high as what the cryptos trade for, but there is basic intrinsic value.
The fundamental problem with ICOs is, well, they're magical because they create liquidity and they allow people who have never been able to raise capital before to do so. They have caused some people to forget that basic business principles, due diligence, these types of things don't go away because we have new technology. It reminds me of the dot-com boom and bust in a certain respect, where they say, oh, it's a new technology and paradigm, so we don't really need to make profit. So I see a lot of similarities in this respect, and I get a little worried that people are raising a bit too much too quickly, and they haven't thought about the implications or consequences of it.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute a bunch of Bitcoin to all my customers.
Right.
And what does that do? Okay, it creates confidence because people are like, dude, now I got Bitcoin. The problem you guys have is y'all have Bitcoin conversations and crypto debates. And you sound like a bunch of fucking like you sound like you're from another world. Just give me the freaking Bitcoin, bro. Just give me a piece. What does a drug dealer do? He doesn't explain his drug. He's like, just try it, man. Try it, bro. See? And then what would happen is I would become addicted to the ease of use.
Right.
It's not just to be an exchange, and that's why we don't deal with any other currencies or coins, because we're so focused on making Bitcoin the native currency for the internet.
What's great is that you know that when you buy some Bitcoin or you move something on a block, that it is secure, and you know that all those people, all those computers, are making sure that that block was moved properly. And there are plenty of hacks around the crypto world, but the Bitcoin blockchain has never been hacked, and knock on wood, we don't think it ever will be. Some of you are just curious investors. If you're a curious investor, do one thing. Go buy a ledger, plug it into your machine, download some Bitcoin, something else, whatever, put it on there and get that feeling. That feeling is just magical.
There are transactions that are not within the bounds of the law. And there are obviously many laws in different countries. And normally cash is used for these transactions. But in order for illegal transactions to occur, the cash must also be used for legal transactions. You need an illegal to legal bridge. That's where crypto comes in.
First of all, I think people should not invest their life savings in cryptocurrency, to be clear. I think that's unwise. But, I mean, if you want to sort of, speculate and kind of like, I don't know, maybe have some fun. I mean, there's a good chance that crypto is the future currency of Earth.
Right.
And then it's like, well, which one is it going to be? And maybe it'll be multiple. But it should be considered speculation at this point. And so, don't go too far on the crypto speculation front.
I think cryptocurrency and thus Bitcoin is really the future of the financial system and the future of currency. So I try to avoid taking as much out as I can. I really don't want to do that. Whenever I sell a little bit of Bitcoin or pay for something in Bitcoin, I multiply that price by 10 because that's where I think that Bitcoin's going. And I think it's going to be huge, and I think it's going to be incredible. So I try not to take out any. I try to really avoid that.
I think paper money is inefficient. It's dirty, has germs all over it, and it's something that, just the velocity. I'm in China, and I'm sitting there having a cup of coffee one morning, and I'm watching about 1,000 people come through this little bakery. And it's because they walked through, grabbed what they wanted, scanned a QR code, and walked right out. There was nobody pulling out cash and pulling out like any change. So the world is going to become very efficient. I'm already seeing it from around the world.
What I always did was I believed in myself. Before anybody else believed in me, I believed in myself. And I believe that it's going to be, another cryptocurrency that's going to be just as large as Bitcoin someday. It's okay. That's no different from Uber and Lyft.
Ethereum's got huge upside. So I think everybody knows I don't talk about shit I don't know. And even though I was at 3 South by ago, spent 9 hours sitting in a room talking about Ethereum when it was $1.50, right? I still know that there are so many people that know so much more. Here's what I would say. It can't lose over time. So I don't know how that manifests, but it's binary. It's binary. It's going to work over time.
Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient. The customers we're talking about aren't trying to be anonymous. They're willing to be known. So the Bitcoin technology is key, and you could add to it, or you could build a similar technology where there's enough attribution that people feel comfortable. This has nothing to do with terrorism or any type of money laundering.